Good morning and welcome back to Developmental Psychology. Today I want to give you a little bit of background on chapter 13 as we're exploring some physical, cognitive, social aspects of middle age. Um, a lot of times people think middle age is such a horrible time of life, and it really isn't. It's really one of the most wonderful parts of life. And uh, as you're going to see, the reasons why. Something I think sometimes we focus so much on our physicality. We identify ourselves by what we can do, how fast we can run, how strong we are, how quickly we heal, and feel better. Well, with middle age, that's starting to decline. That physical stuff. What doesn't decline or what increases, it gets better, are the social and the cognitive areas, as we're going to find. So just in a quick review, we see in middle age a lot of physical changes with our bones and joints. We're going to maybe see the first signs that we're getting really old as far as our maybe hearing goes a little bit. Maybe we have to wear glasses. Probably the main thing, though, about middle age is the reproductive effects. For women, particularly, they're going to pass through a period called climacteric, which they know in which they no longer are going to ovulate, and then menopause, where there's the cessation of menstruation. Um, for men too, don't think they're off the hook. Men too go through a period, not menopause, but called spermopause, where I wouldn't say they cease to produce sperm, but there are fewer sperm there in an ejaculation. And maybe another aspect of this, sometimes those reproductive changes, because they have to do with our hormones. Sometimes there are changes in the sexual behavior. They don't have to be. Uh, that's all kind of overrated. I think people will can obviously continue to be sexually active. This is, if I can make it sound kind of coarse and all, this is one of those use it or lose it kinds of things. People who continue to be sexually active will not have as many problems as those that have sex very little. Um, I think something else that you're going to see affects the physical development is stress. Remember, stress is, by this point in middle age, we realize something that I'm trying to tell you about stress, that it's less about the things that we have to experience, and more about our appraisal of those situations. And your chapter, as you're reading, you're going to see that it's about appraisal. It's how much do you see that you are able, and it can exhibit some control in your life and make choices for yourself. Um, what about your ability to cope with situations? Because there are changes, maybe because of the physical changes, um, maybe job changes, maybe family changes. Those kinds of factors can contribute to stress. So it's really about coping and really about appraisal. How do you see yourself? How do you see yourself as far as your ability to deal with situations? Um, Changes in intelligence. Let's talk a little bit about the cognitive aspects. And some people think the older you get, the dumber you get, you forget things or whatever. What we'll find, though, is that with age, we generally, through our life experiences, get wiser because we've experienced more and more and more. We understand more about people. We've done that kind of thing. We've interacted with them. And for that reason, we tend to make better decisions. We can make better decisions. So intelligence, as far as our practical intelligence, is very important. Something else you're going to see, I think this is one of my favorite parts of middle age, is expertise. the development of expertise, we become experts. And the expert is not the person who has memorized the textbook, who gets the straight A's in the course. The expert is the person who is able to handle a situation that's not in the textbook. How well do you know people beyond what the psychology book says? How well can you deal with a situation that you've never experienced before? That's what we call expertise. Another factor, I think, in our 21st century aging process is lifelong learning. This factor of how well are we able to deal with new situations and learn from them, and how well can we continue to polish and shape our learning. Too many people think, well, when they're in their 20s, they finish college, they go out and work that job the rest of their lives, they're good to go. I don't think we live in a world like that anymore. We live in a world in which you're going to have to continue to go back to school. You're going to have to learn new software and learn new processes all of the time. Good thing is, we also live in a world where those those educational situations come easier and easier, and also to access, and also probably to some degree cheaper and cheaper. Okay, as far as personality, middle age is about this question of generativity, and you're going to see this in your reading, the word generativity. What does it mean to be generative? And think about that. You generate. Life is about generating. So you want to improve relationships. You're going to generate relationships so that when you're working for other people and helping them, and the people you work with, you're generating relationships through mentoring and stuff like that, so that you get better and better relationships. Personally, you're with spouse and partner, or in your children, you get better and better relationships. When we're younger, we kind of tend to think that the whole goal of life is to make as much money as we want, and that's absolutely wrong. That is not going to carry you through. That doesn't bring you peace inside. What brings you peace inside is something called generativity, where you can look around you and say, I'm making a difference. I'm making the world, my corner of the world, a better place. That's what's fulfilling. Okay. So if you don't get that, we get some phenomenon called stagnation, where we look and we go, man, my life is dead. I'm not making any difference. I'm doing the same thing every day. You'd never want to go to work, for example, with the whole idea that I'm going to work hard so that I can go home and enjoy my life. You want to work because you enjoy your work. All right. Speaking of relationships, let's move on. In the middle age relationship, what a wonderful time to have relationships as parents of children, as spouses and partners. And that lateral kind of relationship, that horizontal relationship, is really the essence of life. These are the people who really have our backs. All your life you're looking for the person who is on your team, who really gets you and fulfills you. And that's really where we'll find the happiest and the healthiest people are, the people who find them. It's not in your kids, because your kids, you basically raising your children to leave you, to become their own people. And so there's that. Now, let's look the other way at relationship with our parents. In middle age, we're generally what's called the sandwich generation, because you're sandwiched between parenting your own children and, I don't have a word, childrening your parent. Taking care of your parents. You're taking care of your own kids. You're taking care of your parents and all. And so we'll see that those relationships and your relationships with your siblings continue to develop as you have this responsibility to take care of parents. Something else you'll start to see in the Middle Ages is another kind of relationship called grandparenthood. Um, and grandparents, especially 21st century grandparents, are really important because they're no longer just the folks that the little kids visit. Some grandparents are actually raising children and appropriating the parental roles in a child's life because parents are divorced or gone or incarcerated in some cases. And so grandparents are really fulfilling a very vital role. Um, we see that for a lot of people, their happiness is now dependent on those kinds of relationships, where the it's your connection with youth. One, it's your connection with childhood, and it may be your connection with your own, I don't know what, mortality. We raise children, or you raise your grandchildren to keep your name going when you die. And that's one of the things that we think about in middle age is death. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions. I am middle aged, so I'm ye old expert on middle age. And I'll tell you, I love it. It's great. It's great to be middle aged. It's so much better than being a kid, and it's so much less stressful than being a young adult. So anyway, I hope you all are enjoying and having a great week, and take care of yourself, please. And I'll see you next for chapter 14, I believe.